Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. So in the one-on-one part 2 of the Sister Wives tell-all situation, Kody dropped what, I guess some would consider a bombshell, but others maybe not so much. Basically saying that he's not in love with Janelle anymore. So that makes 3 wives of the 4 that he's no longer in love with, right? We know he's not in love with Mary. That ship sailed a long time ago, like 10 years ago, when that relationship was moved to just a friendship and intimacy was taken out of the picture. So Mary down. And then Christine, obviously if he was still in love with Christine, he would not have decided to not be intimate with her anymore. And when she said, I don't want to be in this marriage if we're not going to be intimate, he would have stood up and he would have said something. He would have said, listen, maybe for a while, just because I'm feeling some type of way, I may not come over or we might not be intimate, but we can get to that place again because I love you. I'm in love with you and I want that for our relationship. But he didn't. The host at the sit down even asked Kody, when Christine told you that she wanted a divorce, did you ask her not to? Like, did you say that's not what you wanted? Did you try to get her to stay? And he was like, nope, not at all. So clearly not in love with Christine. And now at the tell-all, he basically admits he's not in love with Janelle. So that leaves one, Robin, which we all could have guessed that, right? So at the tell-all, the host, she asked him if he was in love with Janelle, and he responded, I love Janelle. Now, the host wasn't going to let him get away with answering the question that easy, or the way that he answered the question that easy. So she pressed him a little harder and she said, but are you in love with Janelle? At that moment, Kody kind of slightly shook his head no, and he threw the blame over on Janelle. He was like, Janelle wouldn't tell you that she was at that place with me either if she's being honest. Rather than just saying, no, I'm not in love with Janelle. I love her. She's the mother of my children. I don't want her to leave. I want to continue what we have going on. I like what we have. I'm good with it. And I want her to continue to be a part of this family. He just threw it on Janelle. He was like, well, I don't think Janelle's in love with me either. Now, I don't know, you guys. Janelle's relationship with Kody is a lot different from, say, Christine's. And Christine even brought that up. Christine was like, Janelle does not need Kody to fill her tank. Janelle has talked about how she joined a polygamous family because this is the life that she wanted. She wanted, the sisterhood, and she didn't want a husband at home all the time with her. So Janelle seems happy with the way things are with not having a husband all the time. She don't seem dependent on Kody at all. Kody could just kind of get away with the bare minimum when it comes to Janelle, and it seems like she would be absolutely okay with that. But he is saying he wouldn't answer it, but it basically told us that he's not in love with her. Kody and Janelle, they have been having marital problems for the past several months, and their relationship was admittedly strained by both of them. Janelle has talked about it. Kody has talked about it. But at the one-on-one, Kody said, we are not in sync. We don't partner really well, but we actually are just able to have a marriage that's, if you will, lower in attachment. We're good friends. We get along well. It's more of like just a committed relationship. When he said they have a marriage that's lower in attachment, what that told me is you're in a marriage with Janelle where she doesn't expect anything from you and she doesn't have to expect anything from you. Lower in attachment, which I think Janelle is really okay with that. Like, I think Janelle is absolutely okay with him coming by when he wants to, as long as he just don't stop coming by altogether. If you guys remember during COVID, when they got together with the family, she made the decision for Kody not to come over at all. She was like, so guys, I've been thinking about it, and Dad's, he's getting really strict with the rules. Either we have to be super strict with quarantining, you guys not do anything, or we don't, and Dad just don't come over. And I think it's best that, maybe Dad just don't come over so we don't risk exposing him to anything. And she didn't seem bothered by it at all. She wasn't like, oh, this is a tough decision. I'm going to miss Kody so much. This is a struggle for me. She seemed like making that decision was pretty easy for her. Everything that I can tell from Janelle's side of this relationship, it seems like she does not expect much from him and she's okay with the bare minimum. And he's like admitting that. He's like, we have a marriage that's, lower in attachment, if you will. But I'm like, that's BS. Like, you don't marry all these women and then be like, thank God I got one that doesn't expect much of me. Yes, great. You know, I think that's BS. But if that's good with Janelle, you know, whatever. But I would really like to hear how Janelle feels about Kody, because when the host asked Janelle, though, Janelle just insisted that they were fine. You know, that yes, they've struggled, they've had some issues, but at that point they were okay. Now, after Christine left, Janelle had talked about how she was strongly considering living the polygamous lifestyle anymore. Actually, that was right before Christine left. So right before Christine left, amidst COVID, Janelle had been strongly considering separating from Kody, who she's literally been married to for 28 years. During the episode titled The Teflon Queen, she had a sit-down talk with Robin, and she said that she had to make a conscious decision with herself to remain a part of this lifestyle. She said, I've had to really think. My children are almost grown, and there's not a huge necessity anymore to say. It's been a wonderful way to raise my children. With Kody and me right now, our relationship has become pretty strained. Janelle went on to say that it would be really easy for her to just walk away. That would be the easy thing. And the hard thing would be to stay and continue trying to work on their relationship, which Kody, who basically for God knows how long, has not even been in love with Janelle. But to me, it blows my mind, because I'm like, okay, this is the man who basically admitted he's not in love with Janelle. However, he expected Janelle to kick her children out because they were not abiding by the protocols. He got upset that Janelle chose the children over him. In the episode, the one-on-one, the host asked Janelle, do you feel like Kody expected you to choose between him and your kids? And she said, yes. There were a couple of times I felt like that. Yeah, I felt like at times Kody wanted me to choose between me and my boys. And she said, every time I'm going to choose my boys. I was not throwing them out there in the world of COVID. At my house, I felt like I could at least keep them safe. So this man at times said you should kick them out, wanted Janelle to pick between him and the boys when he wasn't even in love with her. What kind of BS is that? If you're going to expect this woman to choose between you and her children, at least be in love with her, or else just bite the bullet and be like, okay, I'm not coming over and it is what it is. Don't throw a big hissy fit over it because you're not even in love with the girl. Let her have her kids there who love her, who keeps her company, you know? And another thing as well is Kody on the one-on-one episode, he talked about Janelle not being loyal to him. So the host brought up the meeting that they had where they all sat down and they were discussing their plans for Thanksgiving. And Janelle and Christine told Kody that they were going to be going to Utah for Thanksgiving and not spending Thanksgiving in Flagstaff with the larger family. Obviously, Kody was bothered by it. Janelle ended up getting up, leaving, and telling Kody to F off or something to that effect. And the host asked him, you know, why didn't you go after her? And he was like, what? For what? And she was like, I don't know, just stop her and tell her you care or something, you know. And he was like, no way. The host asked him, is it your ego that gets in the way of you, you know, chasing after your wives maybe? And he's like, no. The reason I don't chase after Janelle or I didn't go after her is because there's no loyalty. She's not loyal to me. And I'm like, she, you know, maybe she chose her kids, but I mean, obviously she's got a husband that's not even in love with her. So yeah, she chose her kids. But to say that Janelle's not loyal to him, I think that's stretching it a bit, because she's been in this relationship for 20, I think they said 28 years at this point. Yeah, 28 years she's been married to Kody. She's embraced this life of sisterhood. You know, she ain't cheated. She hasn't been catfished. She hasn't left. So for him to say that she's not loyal just because she chose her children over Kody, I think that is such BS. Even more so now, knowing almost for certain that he's not in love with her. I mean, he didn't come out and say, no, I am not in love with her. But when pressed on it, he was like, well, she will tell you that she's not with me either. So I think it's so wild, you guys, that he basically admits he's not in love with Janelle. However, all through the season, he was expecting things of her that he shouldn't even expect from her if he's not in love with her anymore. What do you guys think? Were you guys shocked to come to find out that Janelle and Kody, where their relationship is, at least on Kody's side, that he's not in love with Janelle. Also, I really wish the host would have asked Janelle, are you in love with Kody? Just to see what Janelle's reaction would have been, not knowing that Kody had already said what he had said. She did ask Janelle, what's your relationship like with Kody? And Janelle said, he's my best friend. Which obviously that means she loves him, but I do wonder if she is still in love with him. Also, I wonder where they're at today, because I've heard things. I've heard that it's been a possibility that she has left as well, but I've not got anything other than just, you know, people chatting about that. So I'm trying to look into it, trying to see if I can find any clues to her possibly leaving Kody. But if she did, I can't say I blame her. This man admitted on national television he's not even in love with her, and she is his wife. She has been dedicated to this man for all this time, so I wouldn't be shocked. What do you guys think? Leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. Were you shocked to hear Kody say that he wasn't in love with Janelle? Do you guys think that Janelle is still in love with Kody? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, please subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't yet. I'm trying to get to 60,000 subscribers, so help a girl out. Leave your thoughts, thumbs up, subscribe, and until next time, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye, everyone.